welcome back to another episode of our Dash of Drama. In the last episode, we had determined that Eden was not doing very well with Chris, and she needed to get in a new relationship with someone else. And so we had determined that the probable person that for her to get with was going to be Mitchell, because she had a pretty good relationship with him in the sense of finding him attractive. And even though they had a bad relationship, they did have a little bit of romance. So I did have him come on over and they did start building up a little bit of a relationship. Now, he was telling her that he was having, oh, she likes cooking, that's fine. That he was having a little bit of trouble wanting to leave his wife, even though they had a really good relationship, even though they have quite a bit of romance. They have built up their friendship, they have built up their romance, but she is really having him have a lot of trouble with wanting to leave his wife. She has bound him to her voodoo doll, and she's building up her relationship with him. And she is trying to convince him to leave his wife currently so that he will be in a relationship with her. And hopefully that will go our way and we'll be able to get them into a bit of a relationship, because she is, as we know, needing to make someone that was originally her enemy be her person that she's in a relationship with, that she can marry and hopefully have twins with. So that is part of the challenge here that we are facing with her. So what I'm going to be doing is hopefully being able to get them into a monogamous relationship, and that she'll be able to convince him to go ahead and leave his spouse. It hasn't really been going very well for me up to this point, but we are going to continue to do so. Now, he did ask her if they could move in together, and so yeah, this is him asking her if they can move in together. She's telling him, yeah, she wants to move in, but for whatever reason, it didn't move him in with her. So we'll just have her in a little bit ask him if he wants to join the household, and hopefully he'll go ahead and say yes to that, and he'll want to move in with her, and we'll get them moved in together. But for now, she's going to go ahead and she's going to propose to him, and she's going to see if he will accept her proposal. It looks like he is going to accept her proposal, so maybe he is going to go ahead and leave his wife after all, and he's going to marry her. This has given her the loyal trait. Now, I do think she is going to struggle with the fact that she is loyal, and she has just proposed to Mitchell. Now, as we know, she is soulmates with Chris. Even though they have, her and Chris, a really good romance dynamic, they just do not get along. They aren't able to get their friendship up, and because of that, they weren't able to ever move in together. He didn't want a key, and she wasn't ever able to progress their relationship, but she does feel like they are soulmates. And so because of that, I think she's going to struggle. I think she's going to feel like she's cheating on him, and I think that's really going to cause her a little bit of conflict. Even though she's currently happy with Mitchell, she's currently happy the way this relationship is going, I do think that she is going to struggle, being that she is now a loyal person. I think, that's really going to cause her a little bit of difficulty. Now, that being said, since these two are engaged, she is going to go ahead, once again, she's going to convince him to leave his spouse. She's going to tell him that she wants them to go ahead and try to expand their family, and she's going to invite him to join the household because she does want their life together to begin, and she has plans for them. She wants them to have successful careers. She wants them to be able to live together. She wants them to be married. And obviously she wants them to be able to start a family together. So we're going to go ahead and move Mitchell in over here, and he's going to live with us. And probably in this episode, we'll go ahead and we'll get them married, and we'll probably go ahead and see if we can get them started towards getting a family going, because she is wanting to go ahead and get a family started, and she's wanting to kind of lock that down and secure that for her. Now, she is, as we know, working on her mischief skill and working on trying to climb the career of the criminal career ladder, and doing really well at that. Her mischief skill is going up, especially the more she plays with that voodoo doll. And now that it's bound to Mitchell, I think that is something that you're going to see her doing more and more frequently. But she is just going to approach him currently, and she's going to ask him, if they can have a little bit of intimate time, because she does want to go ahead and start a family. She doesn't know really how he feels about that and how he feels about children, but she definitely wants to have a child with him. And, well, technically she has to have twins, so we'll have to see how that goes. But they are just getting a little bit of loving on right now, and she is trying to convince him if they can have a little bit of a woohoo and she is going to give him a little bit of an engagement gift here because she obviously is very much smitten with him, even though she is struggling with the fact that, you know, she has this new relationship and she hasn't necessarily called it off with Chris. She is really happy with the way things are going with Mitchell. And so she's feeling really loved. She's really feeling really special right now. And so she is just, you know, she's just really smitten right now with the whole scenario and the fact that she has found someone that wants to be with her. She's found someone that, you know, reciprocates her feelings and has accepted her proposal, accepted the fact that, you know, she wants them to live with her. All of the things that she really wanted with Chris, Mitchell is giving her. And so that's made her really over the moon. Does she have a little bit of negative feelings about the fact that she kind of wishes it was Chris? I think probably yes. But there really is nothing that she can do about that. I think in the back of her mind, she knows that at some point she is going to have Chris around. She is going to have to tell him, look, you know, I have cheated on you and I have got into this new relationship with someone else. And now I need to end things with you. And I don't know how Chris is going to take that, but I guess we're going to have to see how that kind of plays out in the future here. Maybe we'll see him a little bit later in this episode and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so we are just going to go ahead and let them probably have themselves a little bit of a woohoo here, and then we are going to see if that gets her anywhere, because as we know, we are wanting to go ahead and get her with child. She's just going to go ahead and clean up a little bit, and he is just currently working on the computer. He really does have a fascination with our computer, and it does look like she is, you know, letting him try to get whatever it is done that he needs to get done, and she's constantly frolicking and cuddling and doing all of these things with that voodoo doll. But I am just going to have her come on here into the living room, and she is going to approach him. I think he did tell her that he doesn't necessarily want children right now, so she's thinking to herself, well, maybe I can convince him otherwise. Maybe I can change his mind. You know, she's kind of hoping that he isn't really, you know, stuck on that, and obviously he'll change his mind if they were to get pregnant, and maybe he won't be too upset. And, you know, she's not really thinking that far ahead. She's just thinking, this is what I want, and if it's what I want, then maybe he'll be happy if I'm happy. And I don't really think she's thinking about the fact that, you know, he's told her that he doesn't really want children right now, because all she's really thinking about is kind of her wants. And she is being a little selfish, but I mean, this is Eden we're talking about, and that is just kind of how she rolls. So we are going to have her go on here into the bathroom. We're going to have her take a pregnancy test and see if she is expecting. We want to see if that woohoo they just had has caused her to be with child. And it looks like she is waiting for the results of the test here, and she is. She is expecting, and so she is like, oh my goodness, I have to go in here and tell Mitchell that we are going to be having a baby, and I don't know how he's going to take this news, because he has literally just told her that he doesn't really want a child right now, and now she has found out that person that she's engaged to, that has literally just moved in with her, they're really in a really new and fresh relationship, is now going to be having a child with her. And she doesn't really know how he's going to take this news. She is hopeful that he's going to be understanding that she wants this baby and it's something that makes her happy. And so he is going to be happy because she's happy. And that's kind of how she's hoping that he's going to approach it. But she doesn't really know. And I think that, of course, we all know that he's not going to take it well. He's going to be pretty devastated by the news that they are having a child, when he has adamantly told her that this is not something that he wants right now. But she's going to go ahead and show him the test results and let him know that they're having a baby, and he is just flabbergasted. He's just shocked by this news, and he's like, what do you mean, Eden? I just told you earlier that I wasn't ready for a child yet, that I didn't want us to have a baby. I don't want any children right now. And he is just devastated, and she's like, but Mitchell, this is something that I really want. And so she's over the moon about the fact that she wants a child. It says that he is having his first child. Does he have any hopes for the type? I'm just going to put that he doesn't really have a preference for the type of gender of the child. We'll just let it be random. And she's like, look, I really do want this baby. It does here say also that how can they not be happy about this child? You know, she's over the moon about this baby, but she doesn't know how her partner cannot be happy. But you can also see she is pretty tense right now over the fact that she is a loyal sim and she feels like she is cheating on Chris. And she says, what have I done? So those feelings of her being loyal and feeling like she's cheating on Chris and feeling like she has cheated on her soulmate are starting to bleed through into her good mood. And she's starting to feel the effects of that. And I think she's realizing that, you know, she is moving in this relationship pretty fast. They have gotten engaged, they have moved in together, and now they're expecting a child. And, you know, technically she is still in a relationship with Chris and she has not broken things off with him. And she is feeling really, really guilty. And she knows that at some point she is going to need to have a relationship talk with Chris and break things off and tell him the news. But she has talked to Mitchell here. She has convinced him that they maybe should go to counseling and talk about the baby he doesn't want. And so they have gone to counseling. I don't know that it really helped him so much. He did go, but I don't think it has quite changed his mind about how he feels about having a child at this point. But we will continue to try to build on taking him to counseling. I am going to also send him off and let him go purchase something for the baby that's coming, and maybe that will help him come to terms with the baby a little bit. Right now he's just kind of cleaning up a little bit while Eden gets herself a little bit of a nap because she is feeling a little bit tired due to the fact that she's pregnant. So he's going to go and head off and go purchase something up for the upcoming baby, and hopefully this will help, you know, make him feel a little bit better about the child that's coming as well. And we'll continue to do things that help him to come to terms with the child so that he can hopefully make peace with the pregnancy. So now that he's returned back home, I am just going to go ahead and, you know, take some options and a look at some of the options of what he can do to kind of come to terms. It doesn't look like he is able to come to terms with the pregnancy quite yet. He still is going to need to, you know, discuss his concerns with Eden about this pregnancy and his worries and his doubts, and maybe continue going to counseling over these things. I think she's going to have to continue to reassure him over this pregnancy and let him know that she does want to keep the baby and that, you know, everything is going to be okay. I think they're going to need to make some arrangements, and he's going to need to really feel like they are in a good place for this baby to arrive, because as of right now, he's just really, really stressed about it. But once she gets up from her nap, I am going to go ahead, I think, and send them off and let them travel. And we're going to go ahead and get them married. I think that Mitchell is also concerned with the fact that even though things are moving really quickly for them, being that she is pregnant, he does want them to go ahead and get married. He feels like this is something that they desperately need to do. He definitely doesn't want them having a child without them being a married couple. And, you know, even though he doesn't necessarily want a child, he does want to start their relationship off the proper way. So we are going to just go ahead and get Eden up from her nap, and we'll send them off to the wedding venue, and we're going to go ahead and get them married here, and I'll see you there. So now that we have arrived here in Tartosa, we are at the wedding venue. We are just going to go ahead and take Mitchell and Eden inside, and we're going to let them go ahead and exchange their vows. Now, for whatever reason, it does seem like I am unable to use the arch, and I don't know if that's because the wedding stories, something's wrong with that pack or what the case may be, but they are not able to use the arch to get married. So even though we are here at this venue, it does seem like they're going to have to just go ahead and elope. So we're just going to get them to elope here really quickly. I did try to go ahead and set up a event here to see if we could start a wedding event and see if they could still use the arch. After I set up an event, I tried using the arch once an event was set up, and I don't think it works even then. So the arch is just officially broken. This whole thing is just broken. So we can't get them married here with the wedding arch. So we're just going to go ahead and allow them to elope, and they'll get themselves hitched here really quickly. And then I think that Eden is going to just check in on Mitchell. She's going to try to see how he's feeling. Obviously, she knows he is feeling really stressed. He's currently feeling pretty sad over the fact that she's pregnant, and I think he is just really unsure of how things are going to go. Obviously, they have a little bit of money in the bank. They obviously have a house, but he's realizing that their house is not really big enough for children, and they're probably going to need to upsize their home. Technically, she is not allowed to move out of her home or upgrade until she is an adult. And so they are kind of stuck in that home that she's currently in. And he technically doesn't know that yet, but I guess he's going to find that out. But he's thinking, like, this house isn't big enough for a baby, or in their case, babies, I guess. And he's stressing over how they're going to provide for this child, and so he's just really upset. But they're currently exchanging their vows, and after they get married, I do think that she is just going to check in on him and see how he's doing and what he's thinking about this whole scenario with them being pregnant, and she's going to try to reassure him and make him feel a little bit better. I do think that, you know, she may offer them to go ahead and go to some prenatal classes together. Anything that she can do to try to get him on board is what she's going to be trying to do throughout this pregnancy, because she definitely wants him to come to a place where he can come to peace with the pregnancy and he will accept their child and or children, because she definitely wants both of the parents for the children to be on board and to be accepting of them and to love them. She definitely doesn't want the children to be born and then their father to not love them and not want them, and you know, she doesn't want that for her children. And so she is going to be doing anything and everything that she can to try to make this a successful family dynamic. So I am just going to have her go ahead and say hello to some of her wedding guests here, even though they technically didn't partake in participating or viewing their elopement here, due to the fact that this wedding just didn't go as planned. But they are officially married now, and she is just having a little bit of a conversation with Mitchell. She's just checking in on him, and she is just going to go ahead and talk him into heading out with her and going to a prenatal class so that they can go ahead and get a little bit more knowledge under their belt, what to expect about this. And now that they're back from their class, they are just going to love on each other a little bit. They are really, really happy about the fact that they have just gotten married. He's currently feeling really focused from the things he did learn in the class, which I think is great. I think it's wonderful that he, you know, had a takeaway from the class, and hopefully it will help him to start to feel a little bit better about the baby. Obviously he does still have some concerns, some worries. Oh, they just decided to autonomously woohoo in the middle of the venue. We love that for them. I mean, Mitchell, this is why she's with child, because of this kind of behavior. You know, you don't want to have a baby, but like this kind of behavior right here, this is what caused that. So yeah, it's fine. So they are just going to head themselves on to the house. Obviously the wedding is complete. They are married. They've gone ahead and gone off to the class. I'm going to go ahead and send them on home. I do think that Eden is starting to feel a little bit tired, so I do need to get her home so she can get a little bit of rest. And I do at some point here want Chris to come around, and so I think we'll go ahead and send them on home. Maybe we can have Chris come over, because I do think that I want her talking to Chris and breaking things off with him. I do think also that Mitchell would probably say something to Chris and just be like, look, you know, she's married now. You need to give it up. You need to let her go, and you need to, you know, walk away. And I want to see kind of how Chris reacts to Mitchell and what he has to say to Mitchell about Mitchell telling him to let Eden go, and we'll see what happens with that scenario and what, you know, he has to say to Mitchell in response to him telling him that, you know, Eden can no longer be with him. And then obviously Eden will have a conversation with Chris and just tell him, look, I have cheated on you, and I'm now with someone else. I'm currently married. I'm having a baby. And, you know, I think Chris is probably going to be a little bit devastated by all of the news that he's going to be getting from them. But unfortunately, we were unable to build their relationship up and progress it. And she has clearly moved on. Clearly. So we're going to go ahead and send her on home here, and I will see you once they get to the house. So now that we have arrived back to the house, I am going to go ahead and get her to head on in. Like I said, she is needing to get herself into bed. She's feeling pretty tired. It does look like Mitchell is feeling a little bit hungry and could stand to go to the washroom, but it looks like Chris actually has come over, which is surprising. I didn't even cue for him to come over. He just autonomously came over, and so I am going to have Mitchell go ahead and, you know, give him an introduction, and they're going to get to know one another. And then I am going to have Mitchell go ahead and ask Chris about his wife. And then he's just going to tell him, you need to break up with Eden. And we're going to see what Chris has to say to Mitchell about him telling him to break up with Eden. And we'll see how Chris responds to that. So I am pretty sure that Chris is not going to necessarily care for the fact that he's telling him to break up with Eden. But Mitchell's like, you need to let her go. She's my wife now. You can no longer be with her. And you need to, you know, just realize that you've lost in this relationship. You've lost in this scenario. And I've won her, and she's now mine. And Chris is like, you can't tell us what to do. I'm in love with her. I'm going to be with her. And he's kind of walked away. I'm going to go ahead and get Eden up out of bed. I do want her to come over and talk to Chris. I want her to tell Chris that she is expecting. I do think that when she tells Chris that she is expecting, he's probably going to think that it is his baby. And then she's going to have to tell him, look, this is not your child. I have cheated on you, and I am in a relationship with someone else. And the reason that I cheated on you, you know, is because I didn't feel like our relationship was really going anywhere. Like, I am your soulmate and you are mine. But, you know, our relationship just, yeah, look, he's so happy. He's like, yay, we're having a baby. And she's like, Chris, you know, I cheated on you. It's not your child. And so now they have a strained dynamic, and he's really, really upset from finding out that she's cheated on him. And so she's gonna go in and she's just gonna tell him, look, the reason that I cheated on you was because our relationship really didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And the reason that it didn't feel like it was going anywhere was because every time I tried to get you to take my key, you told me no. And you kept telling me that you needed time, but then I would just try to have conversations with you, and all we ever did was fight. The only time we ever got along was when we were in the bedroom. And I just felt like our relationship really wasn't progressing like it should. And I told you that I wanted you to move in. I told you that I wanted to start a family. And, you know, you just were not listening to my needs. And I just felt like I needed to move on and find someone that would listen to me and would actually hear what I was trying to say and could meet me at where I needed to be met, and was able to, you know, give me what I wanted. And so she's going to tell him, you know, I do care about you. I do love you. I think part of me always will. You are, you know, my soulmate, but we just aren't right for each other. We just aren't good for each other. And I don't necessarily think we're healthy for each other. And, you know, I think that, you know, he's going to be really, really upset with the fact that she's telling him all of these things. I think he is going to be really hurt by all of this. But then she's going to tell him, you know, I can't be with you anymore because obviously I am married and I'm having babies with him. And, you know, I think you and I just need to break up. So she is going to go ahead and she is going to break things off with Chris. I think it is going to devastate both of them. They do have a really high romance dynamic, even though it's strained right now. And, you know, but they definitely aren't friends, and they just cannot build on that relationship. So she has broken up with him, and she is calling their relationship quits. It is going to kill everything that they feel for one another, and I think it's probably going to make them pretty much enemies. It's kind of made her want to not want children. I'm going to say no to that because she absolutely does want children. And I don't think her breaking up with Chris is going to make her change how she feels about wanting children. I just think it's going to kind of kill a little bit of her soul to lose her soulmate. Do you know what I mean? And I think that she is kind of going to feel like she was cheated in life a little bit because she wasn't able to actually be with her soulmate. But sometimes that just is the way it is. But I am going to go ahead and send her off back to bed here. And then we are also going to put Mitchell into bed. and we're going to let them get a little bit of rest. But as you can see, we have had a really full episode, and we are going to be seeing how this family continues on in the next episode. And I am going to go ahead and leave this one here. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live in the future. And I will see you guys in our next episode of Dash of Drama. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.